Friday night. Missed yesterday. I was very upset with myself for missing, but it would have been at like midnight because we had a dinner out here. And then after we did dinner, then we had meetings it would have just been a late night. So sorry I missed yesterday. If any of you were wondering why the heck I didn't go live, and I bet you no one was, which is the interesting part because I'm just so committed to doing these every night and I hold myself accountable because remember, like I said the other day, how you do one thing is how you do everything. That I just make myself really, really committed to doing this. That's not what I was going to say, but I got a couple topics. So, like, I'm out here in Orlando, and this is the IBC think tank, which is basically the IBC practitioners. So, like all IBC practitioners come out here once a year, and they do this meeting, and it's interesting. That's all I can say. It's interesting. Uh, let's see. Figured you were dialed in yesterday. Yeah, that dinner went a lot longer. It was a dinner with one of the insurance carriers, and definitely went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. What's up, Andy? We got Instagram going on here too. So who do we got from Instagram? We got 10 people coming in. A whole bunch of people. We got Super Miller. Got Yesy Rules. All sorts of people jumping on. All right. Well, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I was thinking we'd talk about the perfect investment. I kind of wrote down some notes. I mean, all the speakers that were speaking at this event, I'm not going to say, they were the best. I mean, some of them I really didn't understand why they were speakers, but that's beside the point. One thing I thought that was interesting, and this is a training I did before on YouTube. I did it actually on Wealth Webinar, which then became a YouTube video, and it was called The Perfect Investment. So they did a similar thing, and what they basically did is they said, how would you define the perfect investment? So a couple of the people, and they went around the room, and people said guaranteed. So the perfect investment wouldn't have risk, which would not make it an investment, because if it doesn't have risk, it's not an investment. Just so everybody knows, when you're kind of listening to this, an investment always involves risk. If it doesn't have risk, like if it's guaranteed, it's not an investment. So a perfect investment, theoretically, what they said is it'd be guaranteed. They also said a perfect investment would not have any taxes, so it'd be tax-free. They went on, and somebody had mentioned they would have access to their money. So a perfect investment wouldn't be something that locks your money up, like annuities lock your money up, CDs lock your money up. There's a lot of investments that lock your money up, 401ks, retirement plans. So they said a perfect investment would not lock the money up. It would provide liquidity so I could take advantage of opportunities. And that's the second thing we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about real estate opportunities. Had a dinner tonight with Craig Yenny from the team, and then also another gentleman who is doing some huge things with us that you're all going to learn about probably over the next 7 to 8 months. So we'll be talking a lot more about that. But me, I'm kind of a visionary. I like to just think into the future. I like to think of how you can disrupt an industry or literally turn an industry upside down and completely just blow the industry away. And that's what we're about to do for IBC. What's up, Caleb? But anyway, let's keep going with this perfect investment. It'd be secure. They said it would be private. Okay. And private meaning like nobody would know you have it, because, hey, listen, if you were going to have a perfect investment, you don't want to know people, you don't want people to know that you have a perfect investment. They said it would have the ability to compound. There'd be no cap. This I thought was an interesting one. They said there would be no cap on how much money you can put into it. Because, like if you found a really good investment, a lot of times you can only put a little bit in, you can't put any in. But real quick, like any of you that are listening, like what's the closest thing you have done that would be considered a near perfect investment? Have any of you ever done an investment that you would say that was pretty close to perfect? Any of you? I definitely, can't say I've ever had a perfect one. So let's see. We got super user, Chris, 17-year-old, small business owner. I do hemp distribution. That's pretty awesome. And then we got super users down in Dallas. Actually, hey, super user, guess where we're going to be? Yeah, bottom of the screen there. We're going to be in Dallas. We're going to be in Dallas May 7th, 8th, and 9th. You should come out. Just click that link right there. It's privatemoneyclub.com. And then, you can see it, privatemoneyclub.com/money tank. Come out, join us. 17 years old. That's freaking awesome. Let me pause from the perfect investment. So because we've got, this gentleman on here, there was two teenagers that were down here in Orlando. They were speakers, and they were the topic. I'll read it to you. The topic of their talk, I thought it was really cute. It was really awesome. Was the heck is it? Here we go. Diapers, $2. They're writing a book. And it was basically what they did is they went through and said why IBC is good when you're a teenager. So it kind of walked through all the stuff about IBC. And he said IBC in teens terms, like when you buy something, the money is gone forever. But with IBC, you get to keep your money working and it's never gone. I thought that was kind of cool. Let's see. You bought a VIP ticket, man. I cannot wait to meet Super User. So Super User got himself a VIP ticket, and just so you all know, like his business, like he had mentioned, 17 years old. Please let that sink in. He's 17 and a small business owner doing hemp distribution. Talk about a go-getter, right? I remember starting my first company, and if any of you wanted to kind of see photos of what I looked like when I was 16, when I started that company, go to my YouTube channel, and there's the main video that plays. If you just let it play for like a couple seconds, you'll see what I looked like when I was 16 years old. Not much different than Super User here, because Super User is only 17 years old. But it's you get so much done when you start in business at a young age. You make tons of mistakes, but you really get ahead. Now, Super User, you got any partners who's helping you with your business, or is it just you? We'll wait and see what you have to say about that. But isn't that pretty freaking cool? So 16, I remember, I'll just tell the story and then we'll move on back to that perfect investment. I started working at 14. I worked on a farm. My best friend, Jack, his dad had a farm. Like we grew corn. So I remember I would be picking corn. Then we would do tomatoes in the later part of the morning. And then we would do, certain times of the year, we do pumpkins and we did potatoes. And all we did is we just went out in the fields and, we picked the crops. We put them in bushels, put them on the trailer of the tractor. And then we'd go up, and then like apples, we had to run through the machine, which cleaned them. And, you ever see an apple when it comes off a tree, it's kind of got like a haze on it. Just from being in nature. And then when you run it through the machine kind of buffs it. So it looks nice and shiny. So people actually want to buy it. But we did that. And I did that for a couple of years. But when I was 16, I got a job. I remember actually 15, turning 16, I worked at this place called Wide Waters, which was on the canal. And we just served burgers. So I remember I was the fry cook guy. I cut the fries, and then I moved on. I was doing the burgers. Anyway, and then that led to another job at this Italian restaurant. And now I was really excited about this job because I got a prep cook job, and it was more money than I was making in prior jobs. I don't remember what I was making there, $6 an hour, maybe, six, something like that. But I mean, you're talking, this is back in the 90s, folks. This is back this would be like 92, 93. I'm kind of dating myself, but this business owner that owned this restaurant treated me so badly. He just messed with me every day, played games with me, told me to go get things out of the cooler that he knew damn well were not in the cooler, or they were in the back cooler, and he would send me to the front cooler. And then when I came out, because I couldn't find it, I was freaking out because I'm like, I can't find it. And then he'd yell at me, and he'd go in there, and then he'd come out laughing, saying, oh, it's not in this one, it's in the back one. He did it just to mess with me. He was sick, like literally sick in the head. But anyway, this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I got so freaking depressed because every day I didn't want to go to work, but I had to because I wasn't, I needed the money. And while this is all going on, I just kept getting worse and worse. The anxiety, the stress of having to work at a place I hated just ate me alive. And I had these ideas. I was always drawing, and I had this art teacher, Mr. Mahalski, who I used to print T-shirts with after school. We would print like all the high school's T-shirts. And so I was learning how to screen print. And I had just been talking to him. I'm like, I want to, one of these days, I want to print some of my designs and sell some t-shirts. And he kept egging me on. He's like, well, let me know when you want to do it. We'll make the screens and you can come over after school and we can print the shirts. Just order the shirts. And he gave me like his supplier. I think it was like Alpha Shirt Company, or maybe it was, I'm sorry, maybe it was Broder Brothers. It was one of those two. And, so he said that. But anyway, let's get back to the restaurant. The one day I got into the restaurant, he went right in on me, sent me out to the back cooler, which was across the parking lot, to get something. I kind of knew, here we go again. It's not going to be out there. Sure as shit. Couldn't find it. Came back up, told him. He freaks out, throws his like apron on the ground, storms past me, bumps into me, goes out there, does come back with the stuff that he said, but it wasn't like, it was back there. But what he told me to get and what he actually brought back, I don't even remember. It just wasn't the same thing. And I was so frustrated and pissed off that literally I just quit. I just said, I quit. I said, Dom, I quit. And I took my apron off and I threw it. And by chance, it couldn't have done this any other way. It hit like an heirloom that was on like the thing. And that heirloom, it was like this porcelain thing. It fell on the floor and it shattered. And I just walked out the door and he was screaming at me. But on the way home, I was driving home and I was thinking, okay, I got to have a plan. I can't quit my first, because this is like my first real job. I can't quit my first real job. So when I got home, I had come up with this idea that I was going to create a clothing line. I was going to print the shirts with Mr. Mahalski. I was going to take a loan from Cornerstone Credit Union, which was the bank where I had money. And that was going to be the new plan. So I laid this whole plan out to my mom, that I was going to do this. And then I dropped the bomb and told her I quit my job. She didn't really care about the job. I thought she would. I thought she was going to be really upset. But I did indeed do that. I ordered a dozen long sleeve white t-shirts. I printed those white t-shirts with Mr. Mahalski, a two color. It was like a maroon and black print. And it was the very first fat clothing company t-shirt we ever made. I sold all 12. Well, actually, I sold 11 of them because obviously I had to keep one and wear it to promote it. But I sold all the other ones. Sold 11 shirts out of my backpack. Took the money from those, bought 2 dozen shirts. We printed a different design, and then just went on right after that. 3 dozen shirts, and then after I sold those, I bought the hats, and I made my first dozen hats, which I found an embroidery place that made patches that my mom sewed on the hats. The hats, literally, they were like a cream color with a maroon bill. And I think I did 2. I did that one and I did another one that was green with the cream color. The styles were very different back then. And that's how I did it. And then I started recruiting my friend Chris Crenshaw, and he would take the clothes around and sell them, and that's how they got free clothes. Because everybody's like, oh, I want one, but I don't have any money. I'm like, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a hat or I'll give you a shirt, but you got to sell X number of t-shirts, throughout this week or whatever. And they did. And that's how I built this clothing line. And it got bigger and bigger. And then I started making all sorts of stuff. And then snowboard season came. So I started making snowboard pants and jackets. My mom and I would go to Joann Fabrics. We would buy patterns, modify them at home. My mom knew how to do this. We modified them. I would draw it on paper what I wanted it to look like. And then I found this mill. It was actually in Burlington, Vermont. And it was a mill that I started buying like the leftover fabrics that like Burton Snowboards didn't like. Burton Snowboards would order a huge lot of material, and then there was a bunch of stuff that just they didn't use, so they had excess, and it wasn't enough where they could sell it to any kind of a big manufacturer. So I was able to buy these like bolts, they were like rolls of fabric, enough to make like 5-6 jackets, and I ordered them in a bunch of different colors, and then we just went through and we literally would cut little squares of the fabric, and we would pin them together and make color swatches of like the jacket. I still have all these like photos, and I think those color swatches with the like pinned fabric for the color schemes were there. And then my mom, she would make the prototype. She sewed it. It was like waterproof fabric with like mesh on the inside. And then I would take it and I would take the jackets, I'd get them embroidered. And back then I was like really into like the big logos down the sleeve because that's what Volcom did. So it said Fat Clothing, and then we changed the name to Lurkin Threads. The stuff was super cool. Like, you know what I'll do one of these days? When I'm home in the basement doing that, I have a couple of those jackets. How about this? like try to remember when I do one of these lives, try to remember to remind me, and I'll show you what those old jackets I made when I was like 17 years old when I was doing these, and I still have them today. And I'll bring some of the t-shirts too. But anyway, I went down a rabbit hole with that. But that's how I started my first company. It turned into a skateboard shop, and yeah, that skateboard shop today is still open. I was just there this weekend. I no longer own it. I sold it in 2010, but it's still open, and I bought some snowboard boots. So anyway, I went really deep into that. So coming back over here to Instagram, super user started. He said, I started my hemp journey, 28 hemp oil syringes. Not really familiar with that, but sounds pretty awesome. He said, I'll be 18 in May, so I'll show up as an 18-year-old. So folks, any of you that are coming to Private Money Club's Money Tank event out in Dallas, which is the 8th and 9th, or 7th, 8th, and 9th, if you're doing VIP, you're going to meet Super User, this freaking awesome, by then will be 18-year-old who started a hemp company, a hemp distribution company. So like, come on, right there, come on, how many of you don't want to meet that? How many of you don't want to meet Super User? And then we got Apan Fit said, what would be the low risk and low investment business in Florida in the current economic condition? A low risk investment business. Well, all right. So remember I was mentioning all that stuff about that perfect investment. I mean, when I do that thing, I'm going to come back to that question. I'm just getting my thoughts. When you put all those things of that perfect investment together, a lot of people will be like, oh, that doesn't exist, but it actually does, but it's not an investment at all. Every one of those things that I mentioned. So let me just go through and read them, because this is all from today. And this was just like a polling of all the people in the audience. The guy on stage said, describe your perfect investment. Guaranteed, tax-free, liquid, protected, secure, private, compounding interest, uninterrupted, no cap on how much money you can deposit. And you all know what that is. It's a specially designed whole life insurance policy. And they just said, it's a whole life policy. To get the liquidity, you need specially designed. So a lot of times, like when you say that, people would never, ever think that would be the place. So now let me come back over here. And Shane, I see you got a couple things here. We're going to just cover some ground here. I'm going to try to make sure I hit everything. So Capital J said, when are you coming through Long Island? Capital J, I've never done anything in Long Island. I kind of avoid New York for that matter, or anything around New York, because it's a difficult place to get to. So not that Long Island is difficult to get to, but you're going to fly into New York City, very busy airport. Then it's going to be a taxi or an Uber to Long Island, or you could take the train. It's just the problem with doing something in Long Island, bud, is it's just difficult to get there. We don't, and I could be wrong, but that's what I know. Like last time I was in Long Island, I went to New York City. I was there doing trade shows, and then I took the Long Island. What is that train called? The Long Island Express, or it's not what it's called, but whatever. I took that train to Long Island. My buddy Joe lived there, and me and Joe went surfing in Long Island. I literally just took the wetsuit off, still had all the wet clothes on, got back on the train with my surfboard, took it all the way back to New York City, and hopped a flight home. So we have an airport close by that flies into Buffalo. I think MacArthur. Oh, yeah, MacArthur. I know MacArthur Airport. I forgot that there's an airport there. But I wouldn't do an event there. I don't know when I'm coming to. I guess the simplest thing is don't hold your breath for me coming to Long Island. But I would definitely probably be in places like I'd go to Boston. I would do an event in Boston. I would do an event definitely in the Carolinas, which aren't that far from you. So where you're at, like all these places, I probably would have just doing an event in Long Island. Number one, it's cost prohibitive. It's about as far east as you can get. So I lose the whole middle of the state and the West Coast. Very few people are going to go West Coast to East Coast for an event. So anyway, that's the answer for that. But let's come back and talk a little bit about, because it got me kind of thinking about this one. Got Super User coming to Private Money Club, Money Tank. Hopefully some of you other folks are going to be coming out. Let's see, Food Connection, Orange County, California. So right here, what would be a low risk and low investment business in Florida? So here's what I know about Florida right now. So I'm in Florida right now for this event in Orlando, but in Florida, one of the things that's happening is real estate is slowed down tremendously. So there's a major slowdown for real estate. Like I know people here, the guy that I did a meeting with, his house has been on the market for a year. So the market got flooded. And then when interest rates went up and mortgage rates went up, it kind of stalled the market out. But also they way overbuilt apartment units here in Florida, especially around Orlando, because they built thousands of apartment units. And now you've got these people trying to aggressively rent these apartment units. And as you know, it's supply and demand, right? So there was a big supply, but now that supply there was a huge demand for apartment units, get my wording straight. There's a huge demand for that. And then the supply caught up with the demand. So now what happened is you got so many new apartment buildings that all the people that needed a place to stay found a place, and now they're trying to rent, which what that's doing is that's cutting into all the individuals, like people like me and you that would own a duplex, a quad or something, and we're trying to rent it. But now because there's so much stock, we have to drop our price. And because of the price of real estate still being high here, it just doesn't pencil. So in real estate, or I'm sorry, in Florida, I would say real estate right now is not a good investment. And right now would probably be a high risk investment because the price is still high, but it is coming down fast. People are dropping 50 grand. But what we've got to overcome is what if you were going to look at real estate as a good low risk investment, which normally that would be, you got to overcome this market crunch we've got of oversupply of apartment units and pricing being high, still relatively high on the price of real estate, plus all of the crap that happened with that condo down in Miami. That's affecting things because now if you have a condo, you have to hold higher reserves. And not only that, all these hurricanes and lawsuits have pretty much forced all the insurance companies out of Florida. So now the ones that are here have jacked up insurance. So it's very difficult to make money in Florida in real estate. But the only other thing you could be doing, you could look at lending, but I would almost just say for Florida, just pause, like just wait, because if we're already seeing prices coming down, they're going to keep going because listen, you got supply demand that you have to meet, and all these other outside factors are making it so the price of real estate in Florida is probably going to start to go down quite a bit, depending on where in Florida. But I'm specifically referring to like New Smyrna, Orlando, that area. So that, if you could wait it out, would be a good low risk investment in Florida because you'll be able to buy it really cheap. Think, I'm not going to say 2008 is ever going to come back for that pricing, but just think about that. Imagine if you bought real estate in Florida during the Great Recession. Just kind of imagine that you did. How much money would you have made? A lot. How much risk would you have taken? Not all that much. You caught the right cycle. So now we're on the downward side of that cycle. So we just got to wait for that to kind of suppress and pricing to come down. And then that opportunity will be here again. So I know that was a very long-winded question. What's up, Natalie? Long-winded question, but at least I tried to give it my best shot. And I was focusing specifically on Florida. The things I would not invest in right now is anything in the stock market. I mean, I've said this a million times. There we go. Capital J said, I'll see you in Boston. Yeah. So Boston, definitely. Boston's awesome. Good place to do events. People travel to Boston. So that would probably be a more likely place where I would go and do an event. But, this fall we'll do the Private Money Club event, which is flashing on the bottom. As you can all see that. I probably should stop that banner. But now it's got the discount code. May 8th and 9th. We're doing that in Dallas, Texas. And then the next one will be somewhere probably like in the Carolinas. We love doing events in the Carolinas. Good people like to travel, easy to get in and out of. So we'll be doing another Money Tank in the fall out there, but it won't be like the Dallas one. The Dallas one's going to be pretty freaking epic. All right. So what else we got? We got FCAT joining the house. We got Mr. Dex in the house. Let's see. Something yeah, I love that. Shane said, invest in something like, and understand. And then the pit in your stomach subsides. There we go. Dylan said, been a life insurance agent for 2 months. At my current employer, I'm not captive. That's good. So you're non-captive. I got into life insurance because I learned about collateral loans a few years back. All right. Congratulations, Dylan. How do new agents like me get involved in the IBC side of the business and make that connection? So I don't know what company you work for, what carriers you have. You're going to have to be able to, with IBC to be competitive, you're going to have the right carriers available to you. So you're non-captive. That's a good thing. But can you broker outside of the company you work for? Like if you work for an insurance company, can you broker outside? Or do you work for like a general agent or an IMO? And I would say companies you're going to want to look for, see if you can write. Can you write Lafayette Life, One America, Guardian Mass? Can you write Emeritus, Mutual Trust? I'm just naming some of the companies that would work. So if you can't, then IBC is out of reach. But let me give you the starting point, okay? Because you're 2 months in, and now you just got to be a sponge because you have time. So when you have time, what do? You invest that time into learning. So if you want to get good at IBC, I mean, I don't mean to be self-serving, but go to my YouTube channel at the Chris Naugle and start watching all the videos. I have a whole episode that is just IBC. It's BYOB. That one. Start watching that. Start learning. Watch how to design. How to design an IBC policy updated. Just be a sponge. Watch as much stuff as you can. Digest it, and then when you're done watching my stuff, go watch some of the other IBC guys' stuff, and just kind of get a feel for what it is. Because IBC, just so you know, is not a product; it's a process. So you got to learn the process. Too many people come into this and like, hey, I want to sell IBC. You don't sell IBC. You don't, because IBC is a process. It's just a strategy that you apply through a process. And yes, we use a specially designed whole life, but we just use that because that's the most efficient way to run money. So I would say first, get really freaking clear on what the infinite banking concepts is and what problem it solves, which is endless problems. But the infinite banking concept is just a process of taking back the banking functions in your life. So learn what that means, and that's the best starting place. How do new agents? Yeah, we already did that. So let's see. Derek, what's up, Derek? Anyone want to buy my Florida-based business? Specializes in basement installs. I don't know anybody, but you might. So let's come over here to Instagram, see what's happening over here. So 511 Cowboy 973. Let's see. Alex here in the house. What's up? Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Thanks for being here, Alex. Let's see. What else we got? Come back to Florida, travel there. Natalie said, I'd come back to Florida. I'd travel there often. Yeah, Florida's a cool place to travel to. I always like coming down here. I also love going to Texas is probably, out of all the places in the country, like Texas or Dallas specifically, Dallas-Fort Worth area is always my favorite. Lot going on there. Charlie said, let's see. It's a lifelong insurance policy that gives you benefits throughout life, correct? Not sure. Are you trying to tell me what IBC is, what infinite banking concept is? If that's what you were trying to do, let's see. As long as you continue to pay the premiums, maybe I'm getting it confused, but no, the infinite banking concept is nothing to do with the product. Nothing. Like you can do the infinite banking concept with a 401k, with a HELOC, with a bank account. It's just the most efficient. Like R. Nelson Nash, the pioneer and inventor of the infinite banking concept, a whole life policy, a whole life policy from a mutually owned company that pays dividends, basically gives you the ability to build capital through the policy. But that is just the more efficient way. The process, which I have plenty of videos that show that, the process is what you really focus in on. The process is what makes you wealthy, not the product. The whole life policy will never make you wealthy. It will just make you more money than you could make with other vehicles doing the process. Let's see. So maybe I got it wrong. Charlie said, no, I apologize. I was speaking of the insurance policy. Yes, the whole life insurance. Okay. Yeah, whole life insurance is just like it sounds. It's a policy. It's a life insurance policy that goes for your whole life, and it has a level cost of insurance, a guaranteed death benefit, and a guaranteed interest rate or guaranteed growth of your cash value is another way to say that. Very different than other ones. All right, let me talk about real estate. So back to that Florida thing that I was mentioning about real estate dropping, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the coming years, or let's just say year. Okay, we don't want to go too far out. There's going to be lots of buying opportunities. When the whole market does go down, which it will, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Maybe we hit a recession in 2025. Maybe it's 2026. Never can time the market, but we will get there. When that happens, it will provide lots of buying opportunities. And when those buying opportunities come, they're going to only be good for people that have access to capital. So I can tell you right now, a lot of my clients with the policies they're going to have access to capital. So it's going to be a really, really good time for them. But it's only going to be a good time for people that know how to find property. So I'm not going to pretend to be a real estate expert. My day has come and gone in real estate. I just lend now. But I remember a couple of things when me and Larissa were doing the TV show and when we were finding lots of properties in an aggressive market, because it wasn't in an aggressive market, like kind of similar to now, but I would even say it was more aggressive. Here are some of the things we did. So, if any of you are looking to be able to buy real estate, but you want to buy off market and you don't want to buy in the MLS, you want to buy off market, and you want to get really good pricing. A couple of things we used to do that I don't hear about people doing it anymore. I feel like real estate investors have somewhat gotten lazy because of technology. Like what they'll do is they'll do ads or PPG or am I saying that right? PP, whatever. Oh gosh, it's late. I'm tired. I can't think of what it is. Pay-per-click, PPC. Knew I would get it. All that stuff. But here, back in the day, here's what I did. It was all relationship building. I went to an estate attorney. So I knew this one estate attorney. Okay, her name was Patty. I knew her kids. And I went in and I worked a deal with Patty. And I said, listen, Patty, I said, I know you deal with a lot of estates, which means people died and there's a house. And that house needs to have something happen. And a lot of times the kids or whoever the house is getting willed to, they don't want the house anymore. They just want the cash. So Patty, I want to be your source. I'm a cash buyer. I will close fast. If you get somebody that, has a house, but they want to sell it and they don't want to pay a realtor, they don't want to go through the hassle, I'm the buyer. I'll buy it in any condition. They don't have to clean it out. They don't have to do anything. As is, where is, I will pay cash and make them a cash offer the day I go see the property. So I did that with Patty. And guess what she did? She started sending me houses. And I'd go out there and I'd review them and I'd make offers on them. I got some, some didn't work. Let's keep going with estates. So along with Patty then said, hey, another one you need to talk to probably is a lot of times when I get the estate, I just handle all the legal work. I usually don't really advise or do anything with the house, but what these folks will typically do if they don't want the house is they'll have an estate sale. Okay. So they'll have an estate sale. So then what I did is I went out and I found all the estate sale companies. So like these companies, you hire them. They don't charge an upfront cost in most cases. What they do is they come in and they take everything in a house and they price it and they run an estate sale. They do all the marketing, all the pricing, all the inventory, and they take a percentage of the sale. So I found two of these estate companies, built relationships with the two owners of both of these, because they don't always have them. So I wanted more than one. And one was the one Patty said, the other one was another one that I just found out there. And I worked a deal and I said, hey, listen, when you have an estate sale, call me up or put me in contact with the owner of the house. And I will come out. I'll review the house when you're doing your open house. So no extra work for anyone. You're already there. I'll come out and check it out. And I will do all my notes and I'll make an offer. And if I ever get one of these houses because you referred me into the house or you called me and told me about the house, $500 in your pocket. This guy, the one guy was kind of not very good, but the one guy sent me a ton of houses. And because he was getting $500 per house, it was either $500 or $750, I don't remember. But because he was getting paid, he would literally, because he had some influence over the seller of the house because he was running the estate sale, he would kind of influence them and say, hey, this is the way to go. So we would buy a lot of those houses and he got paid $500. So just with the word estate attorney, an estate sale company, I can't remember what they're called, but where they do the estate sales, like I was finding houses there. Let me go one step further. I got friendly with a couple of realtors, and realtors usually I wouldn't play nice with, but I said, listen, you have houses sometimes that the people, no matter what you do, they're not going to list the house with you. If that ever happens, call me up, tell me about the house. I will go over, make an offer, and I'll give you $1,000 if I buy the house. So lo and behold, literally, I feel like it was a week after I told her this, a realtor called me up and said, hey, I just left this house. The guy definitely isn't listening with the realtor, but it's a beautiful house in a great area. I said, where is it? She said, Hopkins Road, Williamsville. Williamsville is a great area where I live. So I went over there and she said, hey, I just left. I know the owner's there. He's an older gentleman, so you're going to have to talk slow. So she gave me some of the tips. I literally U-turned my car, drove over there, knocked on the door. He answered. He let me in. We talked right then and there. I ran the numbers. I made an offer. He had to talk to his wife. He called me back within an hour, accepted. Well, we countered, he countered the offer, but we settled on that property and I got a freaking badass house. Matter of fact, if any of you have followed me for a while, you probably saw it, 665 Hopkins, shouldn't give the address, but we completely renovated that house. And it was the first house that we were filming to create the sizzle reels, which then got us the TV show. So a lot of history on that house, but that house came because I paid a referral fee to an agent, an insurance or a real estate agent, because she couldn't get the listing. So that was another way. Now, can you see how different this is than how they find off-market deals today? And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm simply telling you what I was doing was relationship building. That's how I did this. I built relationships and then I kept going. I had an architect. So that architect from time to time would get called in to look at houses. And, these people were trying to get a house ready to sell. He sent me a deal or two. So, and all I did is I would just make this deal. Anybody that referred me into a house, if I closed on it, they got $500. I started advertising this on Facebook. People were sending me addresses on Facebook. I might've got one or two there, but you can see like all these different sources. Plus I was doing my own marketing. Plus we were doing a bunch of other stuff. Like all this gave me a ton of leads. And then there was this other guy that I got friendly with, and he was kind of a difficult guy. And I remember I took him to lunch. He made me go all the way to East Aurora. His name was Scott. I still see Scott around. He's a nice guy, but just a bit quirky. Now, Scott had the contract with the banks. So when the bank wanted to sell their foreclosures, guess who got these? Scott did. He had this. That was his business. The banks hired Scott as the realtor to sell all the foreclosure houses. So I worked a really good deal with Scott. Scott sent us probably 100 houses. And Scott, what we worked to deal with is that if we bought one of the houses from the bank, he got his realtor commission, but then we also gave him $500 on the back end as well. So not only was he getting his realtor commission, which he would have gotten no matter who he sold it to, we paid him an extra $500. So guess who got all of those bank foreclosed houses? We did. They weren't always good, but I can tell you at least probably 20 of them that we bought from Scott were all successful flips. But do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just relationships. Too many people go out there, they get in real estate, they go through one of these coaching courses, and they want everything automated. And it can be nowadays. You can automate everything. You can set it all up on the computer. But you know what? There's never, ever, ever going to be anything that beats just going out and making relationships. There's no PPC that's going to beat that. The relationship that you build with the person will never, ever let you down. As long as you keep feeding that relationship, it's all just about dollars and cents, then they will continue to, because, it was kind of funny. Remember that estate sale place, that one guy, every year he made this very clear. He says, the money you pay me every year on all these referrals for the houses that I get you, that funds my family's vacation. So he took his family on vacation every year, and that was on us. And because of that, we got houses to do. So that was an important thing. So as we kind of go into the new realm of real estate, as real estate prices are going down, it's very competitive. It's way more competitive now than it was back then. But if all of you just focus on building relationships instead of, the lazy person's way out of just trying to sit behind a computer screen, you're going to win, because when everything falls apart, they want someone to talk to. Build the relationship, build that relationship. And then the other thing me and Larissa did, and this is the very last thing, then we're getting off the real estate topic, is we used to literally drive around, swear to God, on a Saturday It was always fun. We would just drive around and we would just look at houses, and we would look for the house with the long grass. And when we found a house with the long grass, the house that looked like nobody was living there, it was kind of beat up. What we would do is we would literally pull into the neighbor's driveway, knock on their door, and ask them if they knew anything about the house next door. A lot of times they would say, no, we don't know anything, but you knew they did. And just say, okay, well, no problem. If you learn anything about this house and you give us a call, here's my card, then what we will do is we'll pay you $500. Guess what happened? Right then, well, yeah, we know who owns the house. All about the money. You got to incentivize them. So there was one house we didn't end up buying because they had foundation issues, but literally that's what happened. We saw the house, we had scoped it, drove it by it a couple of times. The guy and my wife was kind of nervous about it because the guy was out mowing his lawn. He kind of had a big beer gut and he had no shirt on and he looked all super sweaty. I'm like, just pull in, I'll talk to him. Pull in. He kind of was like taken back. It's like, you got these strangers are in my driveway and they're getting out of the car and I'm mowing my lawn. So he was kind of like, no, sorry, sir, do you know who owns this house next door? And he says, yeah. And I said, you know, if they're selling it, no, they're not selling it. I said, well, if they ever do, I wanted to just give you my card. If you talk to them or you think they might be interested, I will pay you $500 if we end up buying the house because you gave us the contact. And he did. He gave us the number for the house next door, which is how we ended up meeting it wasn't an owner. It was, I don't remember who let us in the house, but they let us in and the house is really nice. We were really excited. And then we went down in the basement, freaking shot. The foundation was shot. So we didn't end up buying that one. All right. Anyway. Yep. Rewarding your referrals. Absolutely. So what else? We got Dylan. The mutual company I have contracts with is Baltimore Life. Trying to educate myself on how to get more IMOs or other contracts with mutual companies. IMOs are just marketing organizations. It's like independent marketing organizations. So you don't need more IMOs, Dylan. You probably work for an IMO, like they're probably the insurance company. The only thing IMOs do is they recruit agents. They recruit more and more agents because then you bring your natural market in. Anyway, I don't love IMOs, but that is kind of just the way it is. So Baltimore Life, never heard of them. Don't know anything about them. They're probably not going to work for IBC. Just being honest with you. I mean, if there's an insurance company that works for IBC, I know of them. I'm just telling you. I know all the insurance companies that work for IBC, and I know which ones are better and which ones are worse. And I'm not going to do that tonight, but you might, if IBC is going to be your focus, Dylan, which it should be. Okay, absolutely should be because it solves the client's problem in a really, really amazing way. You might have to find another company to work for. But before you find another company, why don't you research it, learn IBC, learn the process, learn how it works, and learn what it does to solve the client's problem. Dylan, the way you'll be out of the business is if you're selling products. If you're out there and you get with a company like an IMO and they say, hey, go sell life insurance, go sell a product, you more than likely will be part of the statistic that never makes it in the life insurance industry. Because to make it, you don't sell a product. To make it and to make it big, you solve problems. Until you change your mindset around products and thinking you need this IMO and this product, you need to figure out what problem are you solving and who are you solving the problem for. IBC solves problems. That's what it does. It solves financial problems in a very efficient method. That you don't even, if you go out there and you show people how to solve their problem, you'll never have to sell another thing again because people will ask you to solve their problem. They'll ask you to buy. Does that make sense? I'm telling you, that is the best advice I could give everyone. Let's see. It's a lifelong insurance policy that gives you, okay, I already read that. 100%. I'll try to watch more of your videos. And I'm not just trying to get you to go to my videos and watch them, but like I've got great videos that teach you everything you need to know about IBC and what it is. And also, Dylan, this is actually the first thing I want you to do. Order right now. Go online, type in Becoming Your Own Banker, R. Nelson Nash's book. Order it. It's like $20. And until you read that book, don't even comment anything else. You must read Becoming Your Own Banker. Once you read that, then watch my videos. Okay. That'll be a much better way to start. Who said hi? Ginger Ninja. That's an interesting one. Ginger Ninja 19. Hello. All right. Well, we do these every single day, folks. I'm doing these these little videos every night. I never know what the topic's going to be, whatever the heck I want to talk about. Sometimes it's just stories about life and money and business and all that. Today I want to do real estate and I want to talk about that perfect investment. We kind of also then talked about that the Dallas Money Tank event. We talked about how our friend over here on Instagram is going to be coming out. 17-year-old entrepreneur who bought a VIP ticket. Super user with 2 R's underscore. Check him out on Instagram. Throw him a like. Check out what he's doing. Get around his campfire. Let's see. Dylan said exactly. Gives you leverage if you're genuinely helping, not convincing. Absolutely. So read that book, Dylan. Becoming Your Own Banker. Okay. R. Nelson Nash. That book will set the foundation for IBC, and then all the videos and everything else. My book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, will help. All right, so let me get to 2 things here tonight. 2 things only. Money Tank, you've already seen it. You're looking at it on the screen the whole time. It's going to be an amazing event, Dallas, Texas, May 8th and 9th. Super users going to be there. A bunch of people going to be there. We only have a couple of VIP tickets left. The sale that's running at the bottom here gives you half off. Okay. It's almost half off. It's $300 off general admission, $600 off VIP. The VIP tickets were literally losing money. And I think there's only literally a few days left that you'll be able to get any discounts. After that, it'll just be regular price and we'll sell the event out. We never have a problem selling out the Money Tank events. We've been doing them long enough. People know what they are. They're getting results and who comes to Money Tank? I guess that's an important thing. Well, people that want to learn about money, people that have money and want to make more money on their money by lending, people that need money for their real estate deals. Okay. They come because essentially Private Money Club is a dating site for money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. Private Money Club's Money Tank event, the one we're doing in Dallas, is a live event where live things happen. You put those relationships that I talked about. That's where it happens. Paul says, is flipping steel strategy still viable? Oh my gosh. Flipping steel. I totally forgot it. We used to call it flipping metal. Yeah, the forklifts. Matter of fact, spring is a really busy time for the forklifts. So that would be a great time for you to look into that. But yeah, just get a hold of Ark. He's the owner of that company. He can kind of walk you through the program. It's simple. You buy the lift. You own the lift. Okay. Then he runs it through his shop, rehabs it, sells it with his sales team. You guys split the profits. He gets 60, you get 40. It's a really fun thing to do. This winter, I will say this winter has been slow. So there's a lot of people that bought forklifts like last year before winter, and they've been sitting throughout winter, and some people are getting frustrated. But spring, summer is usually a very good time for that business. So is it still relevant? Yes. Is it still happening? Absolutely. Is this a good time? Yeah, we're going into March. 100% a good time. So check it out, Paul. If you can hit me up. Send me a message on YouTube or Instagram, and I can give you Ark's number if you want it. But with that being said, folks, that's what I have to say. Also, we've got March Money Madness going on. So let me pop that up on the screen here real quick. This is a super amazing thing that we just started doing. March Money Madness. Instead of March Madness with the basketballs, we got March Money Madness. And there it is. March Madness. All right. So every single week we're doing March Money Madness. It's totally free. I got the wrong link here. So let me switch this up. Let me stop share. I'll get to this one in a second. That's March Money Madness, but I got the wrong link. I want to give you the link to register. So it's Chris Naugle, neugle.com/MMM. I'll share this. All right. Here's how you register. Totally free. Join us this coming Wednesday. What is today? Today's Friday. Well, next Wednesday, I guess would be the way to say it. Just go to this website, chrisnaugle.com, and you just register for your spot, totally free. And every week, we just did this last week, fundamentals. This week, we're going to be talking about unlocking hidden wealth and maximizing your money. We're going to be talking about self-directed IRAs and a bunch of other stuff this week. So make sure you register for your ticket there. It's easy. You just do this, enter your name, email, phone, click that little button, secure your spot. Boom, done. We will send you reminders, and then you just show up. And if you don't show up, Okay, that's the other thing. People are always like, "Hey, do you record them?" Of course, we record them. We always record them, but you can't get the recordings free. So what we're doing with March Money Madness is we're doing this. So if you want to come to the March Money Madness, that's totally free. But if you want the recordings and a bunch of other stuff, you get all this. And I'll show you the Legacy Builder course, the What Would the Rockefeller Do book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery book, my book that I wrote with Brent Kessler, the Private Money Guide, my very first book, How to Get All the Money Back for the Cars You Buy, Drive, and Own, and the most exciting thing, which is Money School TV. Literally, Money School TV is what everybody wishes they learned in school when it comes to money. So this entire bundle, this is a limited time offer, is normally worth $748. Here's all the pricing that you would normally pay. MSTV is $190 a year, $97 for the Legacy Builder course, the books 19, 16, 13, 16, and then we're recording all the weeks that we're doing. So we recorded last week's, we're editing that. Okay, really nice edits. And then we're recording this week and editing it, next week and editing it. So you'll get 4 recordings with the entire March Money Madness, and you get it all for $197, which most importantly, I would say the biggest bang for the buck are the recordings and specifically Money School TV, MSTV. This is such a huge focus for us right now. We are doing so much amazing stuff, from live coaching sessions, live webinars. This is going to be kind of like a TV station where you just log in and you just pick what you want to watch, and all that stuff will be there. Some will be live, some will be recorded. But anyway, to get this, I'll just put this link in the chat, but it's easy. It's moneyschool.tv, but I'll throw it in here and then I'll also throw it over there. Boom. So if you guys want to jump in and grab that, that's the offer for MSTV's bundle. Grab it, $197. That's it. And you're getting a whole bunch of stuff. How do I get a BYOB skateboard? So Matthew wants to know how to get a BYOB skateboard. We just did these brand new they're sick, brand new skateboards. If you want one, you email Shauna at chrisnoggle.com. Yeah, and I'm going to be talking more about those skateboards here for sure. But Matthew, if you want to grab one of those, we literally just got them last week, so they're fresh off the press. Just email Shauna, and then she'll give you all the info for doing that. All right, so been a long day. Got up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, was up till like midnight last night for the dinners and a couple of beers. So I'm going to bed. I don't know about any of you. All of you are still here. I'm sure some of you are night owls. I am not. But with that being said, I'm going to call it quits for this episode of whatever the heck we're calling this, Private Money Live. I don't know. Just me going live at night. That's what we're going to call it. So look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. I am flying home tomorrow, but I will be going live from home. Vivi will be joining me. Yes, I know a lot of people have been asking, hey, where's Vivi been? Well, Vivi didn't come to Orlando with me, but Vivi will certainly be on tomorrow. I will make sure of it. And also, I'll have another little special guest. I'll bring Mouse on. Mouse is our new kitten. So if any of you are interested in hanging out with Vivi, seeing Vivi tomorrow, well, that will be the day. Thanks. Have a good night. See you soon. Come on.